Welcome to day 4 of the Cathro Vision reportage. It is Sunday morning, race day in Croatia, and today I want to have a little chat about some UCI rules. They've incorporated some new rules this year in terms of qualifying. And I've got a big script because it's very complicated. I'm never going to remember everything. If that interests you, feel free to tune in. If that doesn't interest you, hit that link up there and just go and watch some biking, because this is going to take a while. So I want to chat about the UCI's new seeding rules for race runs. Back in the day, racers did their qualifying run, 80 riders qualified, and then they started their race runs in reverse order. This meant that every racer should be beaten by the rider that follows them, and this builds tension throughout the race until the theoretical fastest rider comes down for the final tense run. Works very well. That's how they used to run it. The issue with this was that sometimes one of the top 20 racers would have an issue. Maybe they'd have a puncture, mechanical or something like this, and finish up low down in the qualifying results. This meant that they would be one of the first riders to set off on the race run the following day. And if they came down, went into the hot seat, and they're just a hot seat all the way to the end, it ruins the tension, ruins the excitement. Not so good. Also, sometimes a low qualifying top 20 racer would set off very early, get good conditions, and then maybe it would rain later on in the day, and then the rest of the top 20 riders would have a horrible time. And it kind of upset the balance of racing. This was corrected by introducing protected riders. Originally, a protected rider was classed as a top 20 ranked rider based on your current series standing. If these riders had an issue in qualifying, they were granted an automatic pass to the final, and then they were just slotted in before the top 20 qualifying riders. This ensured that the fastest racers would race in similar conditions, and also handily meant that they would all be present in the live feed. This year it has changed, and this is a little hard to wrap your head around, so I'm going to try and explain it as clear as I can. There are still 20 protected riders, but 10 of them are permanent for the entire season. The top 10 ranked riders from the previous season get permanent protected status for the entire current season. This is to limit the chance of a rider having a nightmare at the opening round, dropping outside of the top 20 and losing their protected status. For example, Gwyn, Menard and Bruni at Lourdes last year, it rained for them and they were not protected for Fort William. If they then have a mechanical at the following race, that means they're out. They don't get to race, season is pretty much ruined. That isn't good for the riders, for the teams, for the sponsors or the spectators. This year's permanently protected riders are Aaron Gwyn, Troy Brosnan, Greg Menard, Loic Bruni, Loris Vergier, Danny Hart, Jack Moir, Mark Wallace, Laurie Greenland and Alexander Fayul. The next 10 protected riders to fill out the total of 20 spots are based on the current series standings. They are the top 10 ranked riders who don't already have permanent protected status. For this round, they just use the top 20 from last season, so the first round is kind of the exception to the rule. For the next round in Fort William, the 20 protected riders are the 10 permanent ones, plus Luca Shaw, Dean Lucas, Sam Blenkinsop, Dakota Norton, Florent Pay, Charlie Harrison, Nico Mullally, Joe Smith, Amaury Pierron and Remy Therion. So they're the guys who did the best at this race who weren't already permanently protected. Another new rule is that the final 20 riders on race runs will always be the 20 protected riders regardless of qualifying results. That's why Brook MacDonald was so early in the live feed this weekend instead of being the last man down the hill. The only reason for this is to make the live feed consistent with the same big team funded riders appearing on your screens at each race. There's a lot of money involved here and teams don't want to risk the riders not getting screen time after their investment. The rules also state that the order of the top 10 permanently protected racers will not change throughout the whole season. That would mean at every race the top 10 would come down in the exact same order for race runs. So it doesn't matter what's happened, every race, top 10, same order. They actually published a start list to that effect on Saturday night, that was last night, and then for some reason they changed their mind and reordered the entire top 20 riders according to their qualifying result. So that's why Dean Lucas was last, because he was top 20 protected from last year and the fastest top 20 protected rider in qualifying yesterday. Are you following? Is this making sense? This has all come about due to teams and Red Bull demanding consistency and a guarantee for screen time of the big names. It's understandable, but it makes it much harder for new riders to break into the spotlight. I think it's daft that the fastest qualifier doesn't get to be the final racer on the hill, as downhill is a wild and unpredictable sport that is made more exciting by the wildcards that can just jump into the spotlight at a moment's notice. Take Brook for example, not a top 20 rider, but he was clearly the fastest rider on that hill. He deserved to be last man on track. These rules will make for a far more consistent and theoretically better viewer experience, but as a racer that had to struggle to crack this top bubble of riders, I empathise with anyone that has this battle in their future. That make sense? No? Yeah, well, let's just hit the link at the end of this video and you can just watch some bikes battering down the hill instead. Thanks for tuning in. If you stayed to the end, I applaud you. And yeah, hit the link at the end of the video for the true Cathro vision analysis. I just broke my phone.